Hi there, I'm Trevor. This is my show, Trevers to Tell the Truth. So I'm going to do my dead level best to tell the truth 100% about whatever topic we're talking on. And the topic I'm talking on today, what I've been thinking about, we're coming up kind of close to Halloween, is I am a Big Ridge boy, East Tennessee, Big Ridge State Park, near Maynardville, Tennessee. And I've lived here all my life, same house. And I'm just a little over, my property is a little over half a mile from the Big Ridge State Park property. So what we're going to tell the truth about, and the facts and historical facts, is about Big Ridge State Park and these hauntings and these ghosts, and let you know my personal experiences, other people's experiences that they've told me, stories I've heard growing up. I've always been around all over that park. My family's, several family members work there. Immediate family retired from there, worked there. Um, I have been there, like I said, all my life, been all over that park. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm all about Big Ridge State Park and always have been. It's a beautiful place, beautiful park. A lot of wonderful people there. Made a lot of good friends, a lot of wonderful memories there. It's just a beautiful place. A civilian conservation course built it. My grandfather was one of those CCC workers. But in order to get the understanding that helped me as growing up there and seeing and hearing all these things were um, the history. Okay, we all know that this area, the Indians were here. They say approximately 15,000 years before white man came, and they lived and thrived and farmed and hunted and done all their things. And they were, the Indians around here were mound builders, and they built mounds, and there's mounds around that that they found. Um, so, and there's a reason I'm talking about this. I'll get to that. It may not be this video, it might be the next one, but we're going to get there. Bear with me. But I think this is important. In the 1700s, uh, during the after the Revolutionary War, this was in 1783, I believe. The westward movement was the most. They had James White Fort in Knoxville, and then they decided to need another fort, so they built Sharp Station Fort, which is actually was here on what is now park property, and it was the most westwardly fort called Sharp Station in the nation. And so there were a lot of Indians around. And there were 7 men and their families and friends and cousins and aunts, uncles, and all that that came here to build to make a place to live, to farm, to work, and they built a fort, which was a fort like you would think what a fort is, but they call it Sharp Station. It was right on the Clinch River. So so they had to deal with that with the Indians, just like other people that moved west did. And as time went on, in I think it was 1784, that Governor William Blunt met in Johnson City with the Cherokee Nation and developed a treaty that the land north of the Clinch River would be the Cherokees, and the land south of the Clinch would be the white man's. And of course, Sharp Station was right on the Clinch River, on the southern side of the Clinch River. So now we have the fort here, the river, and then right here is the Indian Nation. They're just looking at one another. So here's how it started. Later in that year, I think it was November, one of the settlers, Peter Graves, there was Peter Graves, Henry Sharp, McCoy, Lewis Hines, I can't remember all their names. There were 7 of them. But anyway, Peter Graves left out from the fort one morning on the south side of of the fort of the river and went turkey hunting. And he climbed up what was then called Long Mountain, which is now known as Big Ridge, the Big Ridge or Big Ridge. But it was in Long Mountain. And there was 2 big boulders up on top. and he got up to the top and he heard turkeys. Well, there was a little band of Indians between these two big boulders making turkey sounds, and lured him in there, and they jumped him, attacked him, killed him, scalped him. Bad deal. There's a monument up there now. Some of y'all may have been up there and hiked it and seen that and read about the Peter Graves and his fatal demise. But anyway, then it just started getting worse with them and the Indians, and they had several skirmishes, and the Indians would attack the fort. None of the settlers ever got injured, shot, or anything, but now every time the Indians attacked, then the Sharp Station folks held their ground, and they wounded some of the Indians. So anyway, this goes on and on, and this is, like I said, 1780, late 1700s. So they finally get things settled, start a farming community back there, and then there's a town that starts back there called Loy's Crossroads, which became Lewiston, which is now underwater when they built Lawrence Dam, Lewiston Sea. And in 1825, they built a grist mill. Tank McCoy built a grist mill. He was one of the settlers, and later he sold it to Norton. And the Norton grist mill is still over at the park. You can go and see it when you visit there. It's not the same place, but anyway, it's there to see. There's a lot of history. I think there's 99 families that had to be moved from what is now the park property that were farmers that farmed that land. And the park is 3,687 acres. And so that was a tough time for them to have to move out of there. And then also having the town of Lewiston, which had stores, gas stations, churches, schools. It was a iron ore factory or something like that they made. They would make pots, pans, different things that they had. But it was a thriving community, and it was a crossroads from Knoxville to Jacksboro to Maynardville to Tazewell to Clinton, Andersonville, and kind of like we have down here now where I live in New Lewiston, where there's a crossroads 61 and 170, and it's called New Lewiston. And when TVA decided to build North Reservoir, they sent the Smithsonian in to do survey, and they located all the cemeteries and graves. There were over 5,000 graves that had to be moved of white people. Even though the Indians lived here, now the official statement of the Smithsonian is that there are mounds around here, but none of the mounds, Indian mounds, would be covered by water, so they just leave them alone and document where they're at, that they're there. So the locals say otherwise. The mounds, Indian mounds were flooded, which would disrupt a lot on the Indian part and spirits, if you will. And so they get all the graves moved, and they get everything done they have to do, and then they built the dam and moved everybody out of Big Ridge, and then the CCCs come in and built Big Ridge Park, and now we're up to 1936 is when the dam was built and the reservoir flooded, and I think the park was built in 34, 35, and actually opened before the completion of the dam. But anyway, then in 1936, after the park was built, let me how long is my video now? Let's see. Oh yeah, we're about 10 minutes. Let's stop it right there for this part of it, and I'll come back and I'll do another video, and I'll pick up where I left off, and we'll get into some of the hauntings and different type things like that. Thanks for watching.